This conference will now be recorded.
Hi guys, good morning. Let's get started. Any questions you have from our previous discussions, whatever we had about networking or Active Directory, other stuff? Okay, so I'll take that as no, and then we'll get started with the further topic on the identity and access management itself, right? So we have been. I hope you are able to hear me, guys.
Yes, Vijay.
Okay, great, thanks. So we have been discussing about identity and access management. Within that, we discussed something called as Azure Active Directory, AAD, right? Now there is another concept within the Active Directory, which is part of your identity and access management, which we call it as Azure Active Directory Domain Services, right? Now, as I said in our earlier class, Azure Active Directory, where you see this here, right? Azure Active Directory is different from your Active Directory domain services or Azure Active Directory domain services. Now, what is the difference, and what is the advantage that which you are going to get when you go with Azure Active Directory domain services, and what is that which is not available if you use only Azure Active Directory? That's what we are going to look at today quickly. And we'll also look at how do we go and provision or use those Active Directory domain services, right? That is the agenda of today's class. Okay. Now, before we get into the scenario of understanding how do we kind of go and enable Active Directory domain services, let us try to understand what is those situations or what are those situations where we have to go and use these services, right? So that is first thing that which we need to understand, right? Now let us quickly get into our on-premises environment. Let us get into an on-premises environment situation. Okay. Now what do you have on-premises? You will have your servers, your infrastructure, which includes your workstations of the end users and so on, right? And you use authentication. For authentication, you use something called as Active Directory, right? If you are a Windows administrator, you might already know it, but Active Directory domain services is what you use for authentication. Now, all is good if you are in on-premises. You go and spin up a VM and then you join it to the domain of the on-premises environment, and users will log in using user ID and password, whatever you create for them on-premises, right? That is good. Now, let us say that you are into a situation where you want to lift and shift all your applications or servers to cloud. That's a situation or scenario. Now, when you lift and shift your applications or virtual machines to your, let us say, Azure cloud, then what is the authentication method that which you have, right? How does your authentication method work? How does users log in, or how does applications use the authentication methods? So do they still have to travel all the way to on-prem? That's the question, right? Do they have to come all the way from cloud to on-prem is what the question is. Now that is one situation, right? Now if you have a site-to-site VPN, let us say that you have something called as site-to-site VPN, right? Now what does site-to-site VPN do? It will enable VPN connectivity or IPsec connectivity between your on-premises and your Azure environment, and then you can send your traffic from on-premises to Azure and vice versa, if you have very good link between them. Which means the network connectivity, as reliable and stable network connectivity with good speed. Now it's okay. You can still send your traffic to your on-premises and authenticate, and again go back and tell your application that okay, this guy is a valid user and he is not, whatever. That is one way of doing. One way of doing. So where you do is your applications or servers will travel all the way to your on-premises and authenticate themselves, and successful and failure will be checked by your domain controllers which are residing on premises, right? Now the second scenario or solution that what you have here is you may go and build a domain controller on cloud, which means on Azure. The second situation. Now I'll go and create an additional domain controller, which we call it as ADC. And this ADC will be part of your Active Directory site. If you have more understanding on Active Directory, then you have something called as sites and services, right? And it is part of Active Directory site. And all your users on cloud will authenticate to domain controller on the cloud itself, right? On the cloud itself. And this domain controller on the cloud will replicate with on-prem domain controller. On-prem domain controller. So if your domain controller, if you are creating an additional domain controller on the cloud, and that additional domain controller will go and talk to your on-premises domain controllers, whatever you have, the PDC emulator or any other role for that matter, and to get the IDs or the passwords synchronized, and then you can also go and use this solution. That's the second solution. Now this solution is also a solution which is widely used, the second one. Okay, the second one is a widely used solution. Now apart from these two solutions, the first one is not a recommended solution. The second one is a widely used solution where you go and spin a virtual machine on the cloud and replicate it with your on-premises domain controllers, and then your VMs, whatever are there on the cloud, will authenticate or join themselves by using the domain controller which is there on the cloud, because you create something called a separate site and users will authenticate to the DCs in that particular cloud site, right? Now the third important thing which we are going to discuss today is the other solution, which is as a service. We are getting that as a service. Now what is this as a service? As a service solution. As a service solution, that what you are seeing is Azure Active Directory, domain services, domain service. What is this? Now in the earlier solution, in the point number 2, what we discussed is you are spinning up a virtual machine, and then you are promoting it as a domain controller, and it replicates with your on-premises, right? That's what the solution you are using in point number 2. Then point number 3, you don't spin up a virtual machine, you don't go and install a VM, and you don't promote it as a domain controller. Rather, you use Active Directory service which is readily available on the cloud. So you don't have that headache of managing the virtual machine. You don't have that headache of what do you call it as replication and all those things. Of course, you still have to monitor and manage it, and you still don't have to manage, patch all those virtual machines, whatever your domain environment is residing. So Azure provides you Active Directory domain services as a service where you can go and use that service and then pay for what you use, right? Rather building a VM, you can go and use a service, right? Let us quickly see what are those options we have. Let me go and search with the domain services, right? Domain services, you can see Azure Active Directory domain service, right? So this option will enable you to go and create your own domain here, right? If you see, there is already a domain which I created, which is called as virtualvmla.com, and it is Azure Active Directory domain services, and which is in Central US, right? Now, if you want to deploy your own Azure Active Directory domain services, what you need to do is just need to go and click on add. Then it will give you an option to go and create a domain service for your subscription or account. Because I already have Azure Active Directory domain services, I'm not able to create the other one, right? Now, the reason why I created and kept it ready, it's very simple, because it takes around 2 hours to get it, deployed. So I thought of completing that before the actual class starts. So I just started it, and you can see your Azure Active Directory, um, you know, uh, service is up and running. So when you click on add, what all the things it will ask you is, it will just ask your domain name. Okay. So it will ask you a domain name for which you want to create the Active Directory services, and it will ask you the region, and it will ask you the subscription details. That's all, nothing beyond that. And it's simple, straightforward, and click OK. And it takes 1.5 hour time to go and create it. And other things that what it will ask you is, this domain will also need a network, right? It will ask you a subnet, and it will ask you a VNet, right? These two things anyway you will be providing for any resource that which you create. And it will ask you to select the group where it should get the administrative permission. That is another one. A group where they will get the administrative permission. Four steps. Okay. Now let us come back to that. Before we go and discuss this further, let us quickly go and look into some very important things. Now, as I said, Azure Active Directory services, you go and use it specifically when you want to use authentication services, and you don't want to go and deploy your domain services again using a VM or whatever. But there are limitations. That is the reason people will still go, as I said, with this with the one that what we discussed in point number 2. What are those limitations, which we will be discussing in a while? Okay. Now, so if I go and use Azure Active Directory domain services, how does it really work? How does it really work? What is the pricing model? And all those things we'll quickly look into it. Let us first discuss about the pricing model. So the Azure, if you use Azure Active Directory domain services, they charge based on the objects, right? They charge based on the object. If you see the pricing details, if you have less than 25,000, what is the amount you are paying to Azure is around 10 rupees per hour, right? Now, if you have around 25 to 1 lakh, it's around 26 rupees per hour, and 1 lakh to 5 lakhs, it's around 105 rupees per hour. And if it is more than 5 lakhs, they are asking you to contact them, right? So if I go and use domain services and I got an object count of so and so, based on the object count, then you will be charged. Now, when we say the object count, it is not the user IDs count, but it could also be your groups, any object, right? You call anything that which you create on Active Directory, you call it as object, right? It could be a computer account, it could be a user account, it could be a group, and so on. It could be a contact, right? So all those things will be charged. How much? Charged around 10 rupees if it is less than 25,000, and so on, right? This is the what do you call it as pricing details. And they also provide you an SLA of 99.9% of SLA for your services to be available. And there are separate charges for the support and other thing. Based on your support requirement, you go and pay somewhere around 2,000 rupees per month to them, right? This is the pricing model. Okay. Now let us move on to the other window which we have. Now let us say that you are a new organization. You are a very new organization, and you don't have what do you call it as Active Directory environment itself, which means that you are setting up something very new. Now, in the traditional world, what you do for authentication, you go and set up a domain controller on premises, and then set up user IDs and provide a passwords to the users groups and add computers to the domain and so on, right? But in the cloud world, if you don't want to set up this, you are, let us say that 100% cloud enabled, no on premises at all, right? No on premises at all. Then what you can do, you can use this cloud services. You can use this cloud services, right? You can use this cloud services. Or You can also spin a domain controller with a virtual machine. That's what I was saying. Correct? Now let us say that I want to go with cloud services, complete 100% cloud services. Then what I need to do? I need to go and create a domain service with the name, whatever the name you want. In our case, virtualvemula.com. Let us say this is my organization. I want to deploy 100% cloud enabled. Now I deployed a domain service with the name virtualvemula.com. That's what you are seeing here, right? The name virtualvemula.com. Now I can go and create users here. I can create what are the things you can use here? Users, yes. Create groups, yes. Can I add machines to domain? Yes. Can I set up group policies to restrict the environment? Yes. Can I create organization units? Yes, you can create organization units. Right? All these things you can do it. There are certain things that which you will not be able to do. Example, you cannot create forests, additional domains and forests. You cannot extend, not available. You cannot extend schema. Let us say that I think if you don't know what a schema is, it is an extension of your Active Directory services to allow some other features. Example, Exchange server, a mail server. If you are deploying a Microsoft mail server, then you have to increase Active Directory. You have to increase Active Directory domain to support the new schema, whatever your Exchange server need, right? So those things are needed, right? Those things are needed. That's the reason you will go and extend the schema. If you're using Azure Active Directory domain services, you will not be able to extend your schema, or you will not be able to go with multi-domain environment, right? There are certain limitations that which are there. And the other very important limitation is the availability of your domain across different VNets. Now you cannot have multiple domains or domain environment across VNet. If you have multiple VNets, you create a domain environment in one VNet and have a VNet peering. You can have a VNet peering. That's how you can enable the communication across multiple virtual networks, right? Now these are very important things that which we need to understand and know. Okay. Now, what are the features available? What are the features which are not available, right? So these are the things that which you can see here in the documentation itself. When you have time, go and look into it. If you compare it with your Windows Server Active Directory, you have a very good table here, right? You have a very good table, right? You have managed service. This is as a service you are getting, but this is as a VM itself, right? Is it secure? Yes. And you have a DNS, yes, both sides you will have a DNS administrator, and you don't have these privileges here in cloud. What are those privileges? Domain admins or cloud admins, which you have here on the on-premises Active Directory, which means that you have more control where you don't have that much level of control when you go to the cloud because Microsoft manages it. Can you join machines to domain? Yes, I can. And anyway, Kerberos and NTLMs are the authentication protocols that which anyway they will use. And Kerberos, there are custom OUs you can create. Schema extensions, of course, you cannot. And can I have trust relationship between multiple domains? No. And there are few things that which are not available, which includes geo-distributed, which means that if I have a domain services in central US, I may not be able to use that into another geographical location. For that, what I need to do, I need to go and have a what do you call it as peering or VNet to VNet communication using virtual network gateway or so on, right? Those are the things that which are needed. Okay, right? So these are the advantages that which you get when you go with Azure Active Directory domain service. I'll pause here for a while. If you have any questions, please ask. Okay, no questions. That's what I understand. Let's move ahead and try to understand how does this actually work. Okay. Let us say that I did set up a domain. Then how do I create VM? How do I create user accounts on this? How do I create computer accounts, user accounts, groups, and all those things here on this domain? Let's say I'm 100% only a cloud enabled, no on premises. Then for that you still rely on Azure Active Directory, AAD. As I said, Azure Active Directory is different from Azure Domain Services. Azure Active Directory is what you see here, right? Azure Active Directory is what you see here, Azure Active Directory. Azure Domain Services, it's a service, right? Now to create user IDs on my domain, I don't have option directly here to go and create user IDs. No, I have to create the user IDs here or groups here. Which in turn will replicate or will be in your domain. So you don't have directly like in your Active Directory computers, you in our Active Directory environment, you go to users and computers and create user accounts, right? You don't have that option here. You have to still create your Active Directory users and computers here, and then they in turn will be visible in your domain, right? That is very important. Okay. Now this is for the environment you have. For the environment you have only what you call cloud enabled domain service. Let us say that you have on-premises environment. Let us say that you have on-premises environment. And I want to have my on-premises environment user IDs replicated to your same domain that what I have on Azure Active Directory domain services. For that, what you all need to do is, we had seen this, you have to create a connector between your on-premises and Azure Active Directory. And Azure Active Directory will have all the user accounts, whatever you have on-premises domain or domain controller, they in turn will be replicated to your Azure Active Directory domain services, right? So a domain service here will be providing domain related features. Active Directory, Azure Active Directory will help you in the creation or replication of user IDs, whatever you have on premises. So you go and put something called as Azure Active Directory connector, which we had seen right in one of our classes. We use AD connector to connect your on premises to your Azure. And this in turn replicates those user IDs, whatever you will get replicated here to your domain service, right? That's how your on-premises replication will work, right? Now, if you are only cloud enabled, no need of installing any on-premises AD connector or whatsoever, right? Because you go and directly create user IDs directly on your Azure Active Directory here, right? Azure Active Directory here. If it's on the on-prem, you have the same domain. So what you do, you go and put a connector to your Azure Active Directory. That connector to your Azure Active Directory will in turn replicate your domain on the cloud, right? That's how it will work. Right? So that's how your replication or communication will work. Okay. So let us quickly go to our domain that which we created, right? So how do I go there? I'll go and type domain services, right? You will see something called as Azure AD domain services. And within this Azure AD domain services, you see your domain that which you created. Let me go and just access that particular domain. Now what you see here is very important. I haven't configured anything, it's just created. It's just it just creates your domain. Okay, right. So you see the health of this domain which is up and running. And the second option that what it asks is configure the DNS service. Now where is it the DNS services or DNS services related information getting configured? to your virtual network where your domain is, right? So your DNS server details, it is speaking as 10.0.10.1.0.5, 10.1.0.4, right? So when you create a domain environment, it also creates your DNS servers, which is anyway mandatory or prerequisite for your, what do you call it, as Active Directory, right? That's the reason you need to go and create your DNS services as well. Now, how do I configure a DNS details? We had seen this in our virtual network class. You can go to the VNet and then configure it manually from there. Let me show you how can we do that. Now, this VNet is what VNet where my domain services are in, right? Let me go here, access the VNet, and you see a domain servers option here, right? Domain servers option here, where you can go and specify your custom DNS server details. You can go and specify 10.0, 10.0.1.4 or 1.5, whatever you have, right? You can go and manually configure it. If you want Azure domain services to do it, you can do it. You can ask your domain services itself to do it, right? Go here and click on configure, then it will automatically configure your VNet with those particular domain DNS IP addresses or DNS IP address, right? So I'll click on configure, right? Then it will go and automatically update your VNet with these IP addresses, which is nothing but 10.1.0.4 and 0.5, right? You can see DNS servers of the virtual networks are configured with the IP addresses, so and so, right? But if you already have a VMs up and running, to get these DNS details, your VMs should be rebooted, right? So if this virtual network, whatever you have here, has already got some virtual machines running in that, and to get the new DNS details, all those virtual machines should be rebooted, right? Should be rebooted, because I don't have any machines in that. We are good there, right? If you go to the connected devices, I don't have any machines, right? I may not have to go and reboot them. Anyway, though there are two network interfaces cards which are used by your Active Directory itself, not any virtual machines, right? Those are all your DNS, right? Same IP addresses, whatever your DNS is using, right? Let me go to the DNS servers and see if they got updated. When we clicked on that configure, right? You can see both 4 and 5 are added here, right? Now, this is how you can go and create and configure your Azure Active Directory, right? Now let us get into little deeper into this. Now what we discussed is whatever the user ID is here in Azure Active Directory will get replicated to your domain services, right? What it means is whatever the user IDs I create here, they should be part of your virtualvmla.com domain, right? Which means whatever the user IDs I have here in Azure Active Directory, they should be replicated to your domain services, that whatever you created, right? To the domain services, whatever you created. Right, let me go and show you one more scenario. Let us say that I build a VM. Let us say that I want to build a VM with the name VM1. VM1. And I want to add this particular VM to the domain. Right? That's how your general environment on premises or even in cloud will be. Right? It has to be joined to the domain. And all the users here, user 1, user 2 group or whatever, should have access to this VM. Or user 1 and user 2 should be able to log into this VM because it is added to the domain, right? Now, how do we do that? How do we do that? It's normal way how you generally go and add your users to the add your VMs to the domain, right? Now there are some special privileges that which are needed, and what are those privileges is what we are going to look into. Let us say that there is a user called user 1. For this user 1, let us say that he is a Windows administrator and his daily job is to add machines into the domain. Now for him to get those privileges, he should be part of a group. He should be part of a group which is called as Azure AAD group, right? Let us see, right? AAD DC administrators group. If he is part of this group, then he will have those privileges to add machines to the domain. He should be part of this particular group. What is that group name? AAD DC administrators. If he is not part of this group, he will not be able to add any of the servers to the domain, right? He will not be able to add any of the servers to the domain, right? So if user one has to add the computers to the domain, he should be part of the group called as AAD DC administrators, which is a default group that which gets created when you provision your what do you call it as Active Directory domain services on Azure, right? Now let us go and quickly create a virtual machine and then try to add that virtual machine to the domain. That's what we are trying to do it now, right? Let me go and quickly spin a VM, right? Let me click on add virtual machine. Right, let me put that in a resource group. I'll created a resource group with a name called ADE resource group, and I'll give the name as VM-1. And your my domain environment is in central US. Then I'll go and put this machine also in central US, and I will go and select the Windows 2012 virtual machine, right, for as an operating system. And then I'll go and create a user ID, local username and password. And then I want to allow RTP port for this one for our management purpose, right? The next one is review. The important thing is the networking. We'll go to the networking and try to put this machine in the same VNet where my Active Directory domain environment is, right? Because we configured DNS related details into that particular virtual network. So let me go and select the virtual network where my domain environment is. Let that load. Right, it is already by default selected Azure ADRG. Okay, go and click on the drop down box to show me. Okay, why it is not visible. Give me a minute. Let me quickly check. Where did we keep it? Did we keep this in central US itself? Or did we missed? Okay, it's not central US we selected. We have to put it in central US. That is the reason that VNet is not visible. Let me go to the networking again. Then it should show my virtual network. Right, so ADVNet is a virtual network where my Active Directory environment is, and then I selected the subnet that whatever is there. There's only one subnet, right? So this is very important because the DNS details are updated to this particular virtual network, right? So let me go and complete the other steps quickly. Review and create. Review and create. Let that gets created. Yeah. So it's anyway getting deployed. Let us quickly go back to the Azure documentation once and let me show you a few things here. Let's go to what is Active Directory Domain Services here. Now this is what it is, right? Now, whatever we discussed, that's what is there in this particular diagram. So you have a virtual network within which you have a contoso.com domain, and that contoso.com domain is running using something called as Azure Active Directory Domain Services. And user IDs and groups, whatever you create here on Azure Active Directory will get replicated, or will get synchronized with this domain, which means that you have to use your Azure Active Directory to create any groups, users, or whatever. Even if you want to reset the password, you will use only Azure Active Directory. And sometimes it will take 4 to 5 minutes to get that replicated across these domain services. So you need to be little patience with patience here on this particular synchronization, right? And this is if you don't have on-premises environment, everything is on cloud. If you see it here, there is another diagram where you see your on-premises environment towards right side down corner. The green color one, where you have your Windows Server Domain Active Directory, right? And this domain Active Directory is connecting to what it is connecting to your Azure Active Directory. And you have a connector which basically replicates all your user IDs or whatever you have on premises to your Azure Active Directory, which in turn passes that information to your Azure AD services, right? And your Azure AD services, again, as I said, it is confined to your virtual network. Now, if you have multiple virtual network, go and create peering or have a virtual network gateway between them that enables communication with your domain environment, whatever you have in this VNet, which means that you will be able to access your domain environment across the virtual networks, right? So these are two important concepts that which we need to know. Okay, let me go and see if I have that VM created. If it is created, we'll go and try to add that particular VM to domain. Still creating. It takes a couple of minutes. If you have any questions, you can ask. So this VM, whatever you are creating, it picks the DNS IP addresses that you give because you configured that at the subnet level, right? So if you already have a VM which is created, then you have to go and reboot those VMs to get the new DNS IP addresses used by your VMs. So for that, all the VMs in the VNet need a reboot, right? So it says your resource is deployed, and I think this VM should be up and ready to access it. We'll go and try to access this particular VM using the RDP. Still creating. Okay, it's running, up and running. Let me go and copy this IP address and try to access that. 40.122.116.128. Okay. There might be some firewall rule, network security group that might be blocking this. Let us quickly try once again and go and check what is that is blocking. Okay, let me go to the networking of this VM and see what is the network security groups, whether we have RDP port allowed or not, if it is allowed, and how it is. right? Okay, so you see the RDP port 3389 is allowed, but your source is what? CarpNetSA, right? This is a service tag, I think that what it is speaking. So, but what from where we are accessing? We are accessing from internet. That's the reason you don't have that allow from internet, right? Destination is any, I'm good. Port is also good, but when you look at the source, it is CarpNetSA, right? I think let me go and change that source to the internet so that we'll be able to access our virtual machine using RDP, right? Let me go and IP addresses. Let me select this source as internet and then save it. Hopefully we should be able to access it now. Right, you have your rule updated. I'm not sure if it needs a reboot. Give me a minute, guys. Let me fix this. Try to see if it is updated. If it is updated, we'll try to. Okay, 3389. Hello, anything that which is blocking. What we can do is we can quickly go and delete it, create a new rule with at the network interface level. Let me go and delete it, and I'll create a new rule at NIC card level. Okay. All right, we deleted the existing rule. Let me go and add an inbound rule. Source is okay, we can leave that as it is. Destination, I'll give at 3389. And priority, let us put it as 100. And it is allow 3389. Then say okay. I'm adding a rule here. And let me go and try to access it. Rule is added. Let me go to the VM and try to access it once again. Okay, so now we are good. So that is basically the network security group that which is blocking our access to the VM. So which we fixed it. Right. Let me get into this. And what we are going to do is we are going to go and join this machine to the domain which we created. And again, that domain is a service, right? It is not a virtual machine that which you created and you provisioned it, right? Or you promoted it as a domain controller. Right. Let us get into the VM and try to see what is the DNS address it is speaking. First thing, go to CMD, type ipconfig/all. Now it picks your IP address. If you look into this, it picks an IP address with the name with 10.1.0.5 and 0.4, right? We are good. Now without this right DNS IP addresses, we will not be able to join this machine to the domain, right? So that we are all aware. Let me click on the system properties, change, and give the domain name, right? This is my domain name, and it asks for authentication. So what is a username that which you need? As I said in my earlier discussion, you need an account which is part of your your group, that what we had seen here, right? So it should be part of your Active Directory group, which will basically allow you to add, right? Let me show you that group once again. Right, go to the users, and let me say that I created a user ID with in virtual Vimla directory, right? Virtual Vimla directory. Let me show you that. Right, so you can see a user ID with virtual Vimla which I created, or Vimla user ID I created, and this user ID I'm going to go and use. And this is part of your groups, which is called as, right? You can see AAD DC admin group, right? And it should also have, if you wanted to have roles, either it should have a global administrator role, or it should have required permissions at your cloud this thing as well, right? Because this is part of the global administrator. I'm having enough rule. A global administrator, what does it do? It will help you to manage entire Active Directory, Azure Active Directory, right? This we had discussed earlier. Right, let me go and use this user ID with a name called Vemula, right? So let me go and add this. How do I add it? Give me my username and the password. Hopefully it will work. If this doesn't work, we'll try to use another user account. So you can see it is locked out. So let me use a user account which I created very recently. I might have forgot. I can use Vemula. Where is it? User one. We will try to use. Sometimes you may have to have the replication and everything set, because most of the times what I observed is it is time consuming one for replication. It takes some time, an hour or so for replication. I'm not sure if that is the problem here. We'll try to use another user ID. It is double R is there, right? Okay, so let us wait for some time, guys. So what I'm feeling is it's still not yet completely replicated. So it's very simple, straightforward. Maybe I think I will be able to show you at least tomorrow on this one. I'm assuming that it's a replication. Let me try once again. So these users I created few minutes back, this user 5 and other thing. Username, am I using incorrect username? Okay. Oops. user file name is RR5, but user account is user5. Let me try to use that user5 itself, not double R. Yeah, there you go. Right. So so it's all some replication stuff, and sometimes it will take last lab when I showed, it took me 15-20 minutes to get this completed. So it's all kind of wait time here for these services to replicate. But either way, you can go and add your machines like this to your domains, whatever you have. Now I can use all these user IDs, whatever I have here, to log into that machine, right? Any one of these user IDs, which is in a directory called virtualvmla.com. And again, before you create your domain, there should be a directory, custom directory to be created, that we had seen in one of our lab, right? How to create a custom domain, and how do we authenticate ourselves and validate it, verify it, and all those things. So you should have this virtualvmla.com custom domain added before you go and create your domain itself, right? So that is very important. And you will create user IDs, one or two user IDs, and you provision your domain. Okay, let that come up. We'll try to access that machine, log into that machine with our domain ID, and then we'll try to see if I can manage this domain using Active Directory users and computers, right? That is one more thing that which we are going to look into it. Right, go to VM. Right, this is the same IP address. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 122.116.128. This time, instead of using my local account that what I created, what I will use is I will use my domain ID, virtualvmla.com/user5, right? The password. Password for that, right? Now you are logging into your domain, not the local administrator. Local administrator is a Vijay user account which we created. Now we are logging into a domain administrator, domain user ID, into a domain, right? If you go to CMD, and see a domain ID with the name user5 is being used. Okay. Now, can I use my Active Directory users and computers here to manage this domain? Yes, you can. Let me go and quickly install the administrative tools of the domain, right? So go to the futures, right? So how do you install the administrative tools? There should be something called as remote server administration tools, right? Go to the role administrative tools, and I need all Active Directory tools like Active Directory users and computers console, trust and this thing, and group policy management console, and all those things, right? Let us quickly go and install those administrative tools and see if I can access the domain using Active Directory users and computers. Will take another additional 5 minutes for today, so that we'll complete this. Right, so installation is successful. Now you have those administrative tools now. So let us go to the tools. You'll see Active Directory users and computers. Let me access it. And if you go and look at here, you see it automatically picks your domain, right? And if you look at this domain, what you see here is right? You see an organization unit with the name called AADDC, and you see AAD users, you see AAD Azure Active Directory Domain Services Admin, and computers, domain controllers, and users. It's a similar structure that what you see in your domain environment. If I go to computers, I added one computer. That's the reason it is visible. This computer is added to the domain, right? Now that's the reason the VM1 is added, is visible here. And if you go to the users, all the users, whatever you see there in your Azure Active Directory are visible here. You see user 1, user 2, and user 5, and Vemula, and all those things are visible here. Now if I right click, do I see an option to create a user ID here? No, I can't. So where I can create, I have to still go to this console, right? Active Directory, Azure Active Directory, and create user accounts there, because I don't have option to create user IDs here. And if you reset a password, you will be resetting the password here, right, in this users. And that's where it gets and replicated to your domain services. That's why I was saying it takes sometimes, when it tries to replicate, right? And if you go to the domain controllers, Azure is creating two domain controllers at the back end. If you see it, there are two domain controllers, right? There are two domain controllers on 2012 R2 operating system. We didn't create it. Azure is creating at the back end, right? And this is also another domain controller which Azure is creating, right? And if you go to the users, you will also see built-in user IDs. If I right click here, I should not be able to create new user ID here also, right? I can create an organization unit. Create organization unit. And the operating system, operations masters, and all those things are anyway will be managed by your Azure Active Directory itself. You are not going to Azure Active Directory domain services. You are not going to manage or change anything. That is automatically managed, right? So what I'm trying to explain here is it's almost similar to your domain environment. But if you want to use that as a service, you can go and use that as a service on your Azure. But again, there are few limitations. There are few things that which are not available. So all those things we need to take into control, and then take a call whether you definitely want to go with Azure Active Directory domain services or not. As I said in our initial discussion, the solution that what most of the customers are using, they are going and spinning up an additional domain controller on the cloud itself, and your domain environment, whatever you have on cloud, will get or authenticated to the domain controller that whatever you have, that is which is there in your point number 2. Okay, so this completes our session on Azure Active Directory domain services, which also means that we completed Azure Active Directory, the custom domains, Azure Active Directory domain services, all these three, what do you call it as topics when it comes to the Active Directory or Azure Identity and Access Management is completed, right? Which means we completed our identity and access management topics, right? So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If not, then I think we are done for today. So try to practice it. Uh, but again, as I said, it takes around 2 hours or sometimes 1.5 hours, 2 hours to get that Active Directory services provisioned. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, guys. Okay, so I think I'll take it as no. We'll catch up tomorrow with some other topic. So we will be, hopefully we'll be completing our entire uh, curriculum by the end of this week, and we have few more topics which we will be looking at, and we'll also look at migrations this week, and don't try to miss classes this week, right? If you have no questions, then I think we are done for today. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Vijay.